say a motel robbery may be related. Authorities are performing ballistics tests to see if the bullet found in the victim's car matches one found at the motel robbery. Two teenage suspects, 13 and 15 years old, are in custody on unrelated auto theft charges. They have not been charged in the motel robbery. Meanwhile, some religious leaders are questioning police tactics in the case. They've rounded up black youths with troubled pasts for fingerprinting and questioning, tactics some say are a violation of civil rights. Polk County firefighters are still trying to put out a fire at a Florida distillery. A huge explosion sent flames 200 feet into the air around Lake Alfred yesterday. Two people have suffered minor injuries from the blaze at Florida Distilleries Incorporated. Around 50,000 gallons of alcohol has been burning, but officials say there's no threat to life or property. But residences and businesses within 1.5 miles have evacuated. Officials are still investigating the cause of the explosions. It looks like a beautiful day for a spacewalk. That's what Shuttle Discovery astronaut Jim Newman was heard saying as he prepared for this morning's spacewalk. At 4:40 a.m., Newman and Carl Waltz began their excursion into space. Their mission is to test some of the tools that may be used to repair the Hubble Space Telescope in December. They're expected to be out around 6 hours. A longtime leader in Florida's citrus industry wants to scrap the old Sunshine Tree logo for an orange juice and make room for something new. Ben Hill Griffin III says it's time for new marketing and advertising strategies. He's taken his complaints along with a 10-minute video of his plans to the Florida Citrus Commission. He says selling Florida products in the international marketplace isn't as easy as it used to be. But the state has dropped Burt Reynolds as public spokesperson for Florida Orange Juice due to his public split with wife Lonnie Anderson. Now Scott Kozlowski joins us with sports. Scott, I hear there was a fantastic finish in Atlanta last night.
That's right. There was a great game in Atlanta last night, and with the Giants losing earlier in the day, it looked like they had a chance to make up another game on the Giants. And the Atlanta Braves stayed red hot last night as they hosted Cincinnati at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. It didn't look good for the Atlanta going into the bottom of the ninth, though. They trailed the Reds 6-2, but the Braves were able to close within 2 on Ryan Kelso's 2-run homer. The next 2 batters of Otis Nixon and Jeff Blauser were both able to get aboard, and Davey Johnson was forced to put in Rob Dibble to face Ron Gant. The Braves couldn't have scripted it better themselves as Gant lined Dibble's first pitch down the left field line and off the top of the wall for a 3-run homer, giving the Braves the 7-6 win. Gant now leads the National League with 107 RBIs, and the Braves lead the West by 3.5 games over the skidding Giants. The National League announced their plans for realigning into 3 divisions starting in 1994. The plan allows for 2 additional playoff teams, 1 from each of the 3 divisions, and a wild card. Atlanta will move to the Eastern Division, creating a new Southern rivalry with the Florida Marlins. Also in the East will be the Montreal Expos, New York Mets, and Philadelphia Phillies. The Central Division, made up of the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are moving to the Central to allow the Marlins to stay in the East. Also in the Central is Chicago, Cincinnati, Houston, and St. Louis. In the West, the Rockies will be grouped with the California teams, Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Francisco. And in football news, Emmitt Smith is close to signing with the 0-2 Cowboys, but the two parties are still searching for a compromise. Smith wants Thurman Thomas-type money, but owner Jerry Jones is worried that giving him too much will hurt them next year when the NFL implements its salary cap. Now here's Christine Van Blockland with weather.
Thanks, Scott. Currently in Gainesville, your temperatures are at about 86 degrees. Barometric pressure is at about 30 and falling. And while you may have felt some slight showers yesterday, there hasn't been enough rain to report in the past 24 hours. Let's go ahead and see what this means on our national map. As you can see, we have a static front pushing into our area, which is going to be lots of light thunderstorms and showers for our area. But the big problem is down here in Key West, where they're experiencing heavy thunderstorms and lots of heavy winds. Most of those winds will be moving out to the west and not bothering them for much longer. But for us in north central Florida, most of the rain is around the state. Shouldn't be bothering us. Only about a slight chance of thunderstorms for the rest of the day. Let's go ahead and take a look at our forecast the rest of the day. Partly cloudy skies, highs up into the low 90s, and about a 40% chance of rain. That's it for your quick look at weather. Back to you, Angela.
Thanks, Christine. There's a threat to Gainesville's water supply. Officials say they're fighting red tape to clean up a toxic waste site. Join us for the latest tonight on News 5 at 5:30. That's it for First Edition. Thank you for joining us. President Clinton is on his way to Tampa for a meeting tonight over his new health care plan. The president's plan calls for regional alliances, somewhat like the 11 that Florida already has. The alliances are designed to consolidate purchasing power of small businesses and provide information on health care plans. In his speech to Congress and the nation last night, Mr. Clinton promised health care coverage to all Americans while reducing the nation's medical bill, but not everyone agrees on just how to do it.
What we really didn't do tonight is say how we're going to pay for it. I'm very concerned that as we write a new health care plan, that we
goes into space. The U.S. Senate narrowly refused to kill the project yesterday. It's been in development for years. Congress approved $162 million for the project. That's enough to keep it functioning, but not enough to keep the project on schedule. Backers of the Advanced Solid Rocket Motor say it will also be safer than the engines now in use. And now Scott Kozlowski joins us with sports. Scott, I hear there's a pretty tight race in the NL West.
That's right. It looked like the Braves were going to run away with it. They won a bunch in a row. San Francisco was falling, but now San Francisco is putting the heat back on. The Atlanta Braves were in Montreal last night trying to hold on to their 3.5-game lead over the Giants. But with the Giants beating the Astros, the Braves needed the win to stop the Giants from creeping a game closer. Steve Avery was on the hill for the Braves, but Montreal rookie Rondell White says goodbye to this pitch as he deposits it over the left field wall. That was his second homer of the year, and Steve Avery had a few kind words for him. The Expos led 3-0, and that's all they would need as Jeff Fazzaro baffles Ron Gant. He does the same to Terry Pendleton. Fazzaro had a career-high 11 strikeouts en route to a 6-1 win, cutting the Braves' lead to 2.5 in the West. Last night in Seattle, Nolan Ryan was on the mound for the Rangers, continuing his farewell tour. But in the first inning, he walked 4 and gave up 2 hits, one of which was a grand slam. Ryan was unable to retire even one batter and was taken out of the game to a huge ovation by the Seattle fans. It now looks like Ryan's career is over due to a torn ligament in his elbow. He had only 2 scheduled starts left before his retirement. There is no doubt that Ryan is on his way to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. And finally, the 5 cities vying for an NFL expansion team have given their final presentations as to why the National Football League should come to their town. The cities of Jacksonville, Memphis, Charlotte, St. Louis, and Baltimore are all vying for teams. The odds-on favorites are Baltimore and St. Louis, considering they have lost franchises to Indianapolis and Phoenix. The decision is expected at the end of October when the owners will have a vote after hearing the recommendation. Now here's Christine Van Blockland with weather.
Thanks, Scott. Currently outside in Gainesville, it's still sunny and hot. We're not seeing those temperatures that other parts of the state are seeing, with fall coming up real soon. Temperatures are 79, though, kind of cool. We're looking good, and winds are light out of the southeast at 3 miles an hour. 87% humidity, and not much rain's been reported. Not too much to worry about. Go and take a look at our national map, see where those cooler temperatures are. As you can see, there's a huge cold front coming through, bringing lots of rain behind it, but fortunately not for us. As it does come down, it will bring cooler temperatures, but for now, there's not much precipitation down here in the state of Florida. Go ahead and take a look at the rest of the afternoon's forecast. Hazy skies a little bit, but mostly clear. Again, highs are going to be up into the mid-90s, not too hot. Should be a nice, clear day. Get a chance to go outside if you can. That's it for weather. Back to you, Angela.
If you're a property owner in the St. Johns Water District, you'll have to dig a little deeper to pay your taxes. We'll have the details tonight on News 5 at 5:30. That's it for First Edition. Thank you for joining us.
I gotta be close to this thing. Get over it.
I think actually last time we corrected that little problem.
Who did all this last week?
Oh, Paul Boron did.
Scotty Yossi.
Yeah.
Good morning, I'm Angela Palmer. A Gainesville woman is dead, struck down by a hit-and-run driver. According to witnesses, 27-year-old Veronica Lynette Dickerson was hit and carried over 50 feet. Police say she was crossing
The National League Championship Series began last night in Philadelphia, and if the first game is a gauge for the series, it's going to be a good one. Let's go to the vet, where Kurt Schilling was red hot early, striking out the heart of the Braves order, including Jeff Blauser. Next, it was
Thank you, Scott. Currently in Gainesville, temperatures are at about 70 degrees, wind at a north-northeast at 12 miles an hour, humidity way up at 97%, and only half an inch rain's been reported in the past 24 hours. We're going to see more of that today. Try to memorize.
From North Central Florida's News 5, this is First Edition.
Good morning, I'm Angela Palmer. A Gainesville woman is dead, struck down by a hit-and-run driver. According to witnesses, 27-year-old Veronica Lynette Dickerson was hit and carried over 50 feet. Police say she was crossing University Avenue with her boyfriend around 8:30 last night. Police are looking for a white 1980s General Motors type car with heavy front-end damage and a broken right headlight. They believe the driver may be a white male with blonde hair. The southbound lanes of I-75 near Alachua should be cleared within the hour following a semi-truck accident early this morning. No other cars were involved in the crash. Officials say the driver may have fallen asleep at the wheel. The driver was taken to North Florida Regional Medical Center. His injuries are not life-threatening. Traffic was backed up for hours on the interstate. Police have not filed charges against the driver, but authorities are considering reckless driving charges. Attorneys in the Danny Rolling path they'll want to use. Fair trial laws require attorneys to keep convictions and alleged acts out of the trial unless accepted beforehand. It's likely prosecutors will bring up his 1990 bank robbery conviction, but they won't raise the question of Rolling as a suspect in the 1990 shooting of his father. Rolling is currently serving multiple life terms for a string of robberies. They happened about the same time of the August 1990 murders. If you're a District 1 resident, you can vote tomorrow for a new Gainesville City Commissioner. 9 candidates are vying for the spot, the largest pool in recent history. But the new term will be a short one. It'll be up for election again in March. The seat opened up when Governor Lawton Chiles suspended former Commissioner Rodney Long when he was indicted on federal drug charges. We'll have a complete preview of tomorrow's election for you tonight on News 5 at 5:30. And now Scott Kozlowski joins us with sports. Scott, I hear it's a sad day for Braves fans.
Well, yeah, some of the Braves fans are a little disappointed this morning, but it's only the first game of 7, so I think we might see something different in the next 6 games. The National League Championship Series began last night in Philadelphia, and if the first game is a gauge for the series, it's going to be a good one. Let's go to the vet. That's where Curt Schilling was red hot early, striking out the heart of the Braves order, including Jeff Blauser, next Ron Gant, then Fred McGriff, and finally David Justice. Schilling struck out his first 5 batters he faced, which is a new LCS record, and he struck out 10 in the game. Mitch Williams in on relief in the top of the 9th with Philly ahead 3-2, but Kim Batiste throws away the potential double play, allowing the Braves to tie the game at 3. But in the bottom of the 10th, tied at 3, Batiste, yep, same guy, goes from goat to hero when he drives in John Kruk to win the game for the Phillies 4-3. The Braves and Phillies will do it again tonight at 8 o'clock when the Braves' Greg Maddux will go up against Philadelphia's Tommy Green. Meanwhile, over in the American League Series, the Blue Jays took a 2-0 lead over the White Sox in the Comiskey Park yesterday afternoon. Dave Stewart improved his playoff record to 7-0 with the win. The Sox will find themselves in a hole when they head to Skydome tomorrow. And in news from the NFL, the 0-5 Atlanta Falcons have waived Eric Dickerson. Dickerson is the NFL's second leading career rusher behind Walter Payton. Dickerson would not mention if he's going to retire. Also, the Indianapolis Colts plan on starting quarterback Jeff George this weekend in place of Jack Trudeau when the Colts host the Cowboys in the Hoosier Dome. Now here's Christine Van Blockland with weather.
Thanks, Scott. Currently in Gainesville, temperatures are at about 70 degrees. That would be nice if we didn't have all that rain. If you were up early this morning, you would notice those heavy thunderstorms we're having. They're lightening up a little bit now, but there will be more for the rest of the day. As you can see, winds coming out of the north-northeast, about 12 miles per hour. 97% humidity. Let's go ahead and take a look at the map and see where that rain is. Down here is where most of the heavy thunderstorms are. Those will be moving northward, but staying around here in Florida, there's some more down here by Sarasota and some more up the east coast, which means a lot more rain for us. It's going to be about an 80% chance of rain for the rest of the day. Let's go ahead and take a look at the forecast for the remainder of the afternoon. Cloudy skies. When the rain does let up, however, we will be seeing a little bit of sun and temperatures in the lower 80s. Will be nice, but hate to say it, keep those umbrellas handy. That's it for weather. Back to you, Angela.
Thanks, Christine. Your local TV station may be something you take for granted, but some viewers got a surprise this week. We'll explain and give you more for that tonight on News 5 at 5:30. That's it for First Edition. Thank you for joining us. People who live. And now Scott Kozlowski joins us with sports. Scott, I hear it's a bad day for Braves fans.
Well, I think most of the Braves fans are going to be saying, wait till next year, because the Braves and Phillies squared off last night in Philadelphia for Game 6 of the NLCS. The Braves' backs were against the wall because they needed the win to stay alive. Bobby Cox looked a bit tired, or a bit nervous, and John Kruk here looks a bit tired. Braves pitcher Greg Maddux got in trouble early, though, when he walked Phillies pitcher Tommy Green, and the Philly fanatic was loving it. Maddux paid for the walk, though, when Darren Dalton doubles this ball just fair down the right field line as the Phillies first base coach does his best windmill impression. The Phillies led 2-0, and the Braves were able to get one back, though, in the fifth when Blauser, who had all of the Braves' RBIs last night, drives this one into left field, and they cut the lead to 2-1. But Green squashes that rally as he blows this next pitch here by Ron Gant and strikes out the side to get out of the trouble. But they were in trouble down 6-3 in the ninth when Mitch Williams came on for the Phillies. He then comes and strikes out Bill Pacoda for the last out of the game, and the celebration is on. Game 1 of the World Series begins Saturday night at 8:30 in Toronto. Now here's Christine Van Blockland with your weather.
Thanks, Scott. Right now in Gainesville, temperatures are hitting at about 73 degrees. Winds light out of the east at 8 miles an hour. Humidity's high again, 93 degrees, up 93%. And while there's been no rain reported in the past 24 hours, let's go ahead and take a look at our national weather map. We'll see where there's a lot of rain down here in South Florida. Sarasota, Fort Myers, and Tampa are receiving heavy thunderstorms right now. This front is moving, unfortunately, up through the northeast. It should be skimming just the southern part of Gainesville, but we might be seeing some of that soon. A little lighter precipitation up here in the Carolinas. Not much for us to worry about. Let's go and take a look at the rest of the forecast for our area. Mostly cloudy skies. Sorry about that. Mid to upper 70s. Maybe hitting in the 80s. Rain chance only at 30% right now. Could be a little more later on. That's it for your quick look at weather. Back to you, Angela.
Thanks, Christine. The city of Gainesville will be tackling crime, and a city commissioner is planning on traveling to the nation's capital to speak out on the issue. We'll have more details tonight on News 5 at 5:30. That's it for First Edition. Thank you for joining us. With sports, Scott, tell us what's happening in the World Series.
Well, there was a really crazy game last night. It was wet and wild, as they would say. Game 4 of the World Series took place in Philadelphia last night, and it was a wild one. Rain fell for nearly the entire game, but didn't affect Lenny Dykstra, who homered twice and drove in 4. Dykstra helped the Phillies to a 14-9 lead going into the 8th. The pitcher thinking, why did I throw that pitch? But back came the Jays with 6 runs in the top of the 8th, capped off by Devon White's 2-run triple off Philadelphia's wild thing, Mitch Williams. There were 4 lead changes in the game. They set a new World Series record for runs in a game. Here was the last out As Toronto won 15-14, Philly must win Game 5 tonight to keep their chances alive. The Tampa Bay Lightning hosted Wayne Gretzky and the Los Angeles Kings last night in the Thunderdome, but Wayne wasn't the only Gretzky on the ice. His younger brother Brent plays for the Lightning. It was the first time the two brothers met in an NHL game, and Wayne showed his little brother how it should be done. By scoring a goal and assisting on two more, the Kings beat the Lightning 4-3. The two brothers play against each other only once more this season on December 4th in Los Angeles. And in news from the NFL, it appears as if offensive tackle Paul Gruber of the Buccaneers was going to be traded to the Raiders, but the deal fell through when Gruber was unable to agree on a long-term contract with Los Angeles. Gruber, however, turned right around and signed a 4-year deal to stay with the Bucs. Also, running back Eric Dickerson announced his retirement after a short stint with the Atlanta Falcons. Dickerson ends his career as the second all-time leading rusher. Now here's Christine Van Blockland with weather.
Thank you, Scott. Currently in Gainesville, we're seeing temperatures at about 79 degrees.